Welcome back to our mission-experienced energetic citizen explainer. If you were hanging out with us for our last analysis, you know we took this incredibly fascinating deep dive into the gut microbiome, right? We looked at how it basically builds your immune system from the inside out. Well, today, we're shifting gears to something just as foundational. We are going to look at the literal structural integrity of your body. Yep, your skeletal infrastructure and the mechanical flexibility of your joints. Get ready, because the way you think about your skeleton, it's about to change entirely. So let's just dive right in and start with a really provocative question. Are your bones living, breathing tissue, or are they just hollow sticks? Think about that for a second. A lot of us still have this lingering idea from middle school biology that our skeleton is just this dead, rigid scaffolding. You know, like the static wooden beams inside the walls of a house that simply hold the muscles and skin up. But what if I told you that is absolutely 100% wrong? It turns out your bones are unbelievably dynamic. They are living infrastructure. They're not just sitting there in the dark doing nothing. They are constantly reacting, remodeling, and responding to exactly how we treat them every single day. Your bones are actually paying very close attention to your daily habits. And to really show you what happens when we totally ignore this biological reality, let's take a look at a fascinating and honestly kind of cautionary character from our source material. Enter Seth Karodimal. Now, Seth represents what we're going to call the sedentary trap. Seth's entire approach to his skeletal health is, well, totally passive. He literally treats his skeleton like that dead scaffolding we just talked about. He just assumes it'll take care of itself while he goes about his completely inactive lifestyle. Now, what's really interesting and, frankly, a little bit scary is just how incredibly relatable Seth's routine is for so many of us today. I mean, he sits on a sofa or an office chair literally all day long, barely moves. And when his joints inevitably start screaming in pain from all that stiffness, what's his go-to move? He immediately pops a painkiller. He just silences the alarm. And to make himself feel a bit better about his bone health, he relies entirely on popping calcium pills. He assumes, just swallowing a supplement is going to automatically build a strong skeleton. He's passively hoping a pill is going to do the hard work that actual physical movement is supposed to do. But here is the kicker. Check out what happens in the body when it experiences absolutely zero mechanical stress. Because Seth is just sitting all day, that calcium he's taking, it has nowhere to go. It doesn't just magically find its way into his bones, because the bones aren't working. They don't need it. So instead, that calcium just gets deposited right into his arteries, dangerously clogging them up. Now, contrast that with a body that's actually under mechanical stress. When you move around and bear weight, that physical force literally drives the calcium in to fortify the bones. But yeah, Seth isn't doing any of that. Which brings us to the really painful climax of Seth's lifestyle, because he's just muting his pain with pills, never getting off the couch, and letting that calcium clog his arteries instead of feeding his skeleton. The result is an absolute catastrophe. His joints become totally jammed up and stiff. And his unfed bones, they become hollow, brittle, and incredibly weak. This is literally the fast track to osteoporosis. It is a complete structural collapse, born entirely out of doing nothing. All right, let's flip the script. Meet Master Dinanath, the active architect. He's the exact polar opposite of Seth. Master Dinanath treats his body completely differently because he fundamentally gets the core premise of our explainer today. Bones are living tissue. They absolutely need a reason to stay strong. And by actively engaging with his environment, he makes sure his skeleton never just goes to sleep. This right here is what we call mechanical loading. Master Dinanath isn't just moving around randomly. He purposefully starts his days soaking in the morning sunlight. He does resistance and weight-bearing exercises, he does his daily squats, goes for brisk walks, and practices yoga. Do you see the difference here? He is deliberately putting physical pressure on his skeletal system. And that specific mechanical pressure, it acts like a signal. It basically forces his living bones to open up and actively absorb that calcium from his system. He's not just hoping his bones stay dense, he's demanding it. But it's not just about the movement, it's also about highly specific nourishment. Right alongside that mechanical loading, Master Dinanath actively feeds his joints with a targeted lubrication diet. He seamlessly works these very specific foods into his daily meals: soaked walnuts, sesame seeds, and buckwheat oil, which is also known as kutu oil. These foods act as the biological grease that keeps his joint machinery gliding perfectly smoothly through all those squats and yoga poses. And honestly, here is the absolute most remarkable part of this whole case study. He is 58 years old.
At an age where most people just kind of accept joint pain as this inevitable part of getting older, Master Dinanath has achieved completely flexible, pain-free mobility at 58. He is not dealing with jammed knees or hollow bones simply because he entirely sidestepped the sedentary trap.
So when you put them side by side, the contrast is just staggering. On one side, you have Seth's decay, literally chained to chairs, silencing his body's warning signs with painkillers, and dealing with unabsorbed calcium that's just clogging up his cardiovascular system. And on the other side, Dinanath's vitality, powered by squats, resistance training, and a really smart joint diet. The main takeaway here is undeniable, guys. Passive treatments lead to complete structural failure, while active, deliberate maintenance leads to lasting vitality. So what's the actual science behind all this? Like, why does Dinanath's proactive method work so flawlessly while Seth's completely crashes and burns? Well, it's not just some inspiring anecdote. It all boils down to one fascinating scientific rule that proves exactly how our skeletal architecture adapts to the world around us. It's called Wolff's Law, and this is absolutely crucial to understand. This is the undeniable scientific rule that governs our entire skeletal architecture. It states that human bones strengthen exactly in proportion to the mechanical stress or load placed upon them. It is literally a 1-to-1 ratio. If you lift heavy things, if you walk briskly, if you put stress on the bone builds thicker walls to handle that stress. And if you don't, well, that leads us to a pretty terrifying biological reality. Think of this as the inactivity penalty. Your body is honestly like a super ruthless bank manager. Step 1, you stop moving and spend your days resting heavily, just like Seth. Step 2, the body's efficiency system kicks in. It literally looks at your dense bones and registers them as useless because, well, you aren't using them to support any active loads. And step 3, and this is the crazy part, the body actively extracts the calcium back out of your unused bones to use it somewhere else. Seriously, if you stop moving, your body literally steals the structural integrity right out from under you. No way around it. So the really crucial point here, especially as we get older, is what we can call the post-58 rule, totally inspired by Master Dinanath. To maintain bone density as the years pass, there are simply no shortcuts. Popping a calcium pill while binge-watching TV on the couch is not going to save you. You absolutely need the synergy of proper movement, that mechanical loading, combined with proper nutrition. It is the only way to signal to your body that it needs to keep those bones strong. Bones need a safe load to stay strong. That's the bottom line. It's not just a fun little fitness tip or a nice recommendation. According to the strict mechanics of Wolff's Law, putting a safe load on your skeleton through resistance training or weight-bearing exercise is biologically mandatory for your structural survival. Without the load, the structure literally dismantles itself. I love how our source material sums this up with this one core mantra. Don't put joints to sleep with painkillers. Wake them up with right movement. We have got to stop silencing our body's vital alarms. Pain and stiffness, those are signals that your infrastructure desperately needs mechanical attention. It doesn't need a chemical mute button. You have to wake your infrastructure up. So I'll leave you with this. Are you letting your skeleton slowly dismantle itself on the couch, or are you out there actively building it? The choice is 100% yours. Now, once you've fortified your architecture, how exactly do you optimize the plumbing that runs all the way through it? Well, we are going to uncover the secrets to a pristine cardiovascular network next time. So, are you ready to learn how to clean your cardiovascular system and dramatically improve your blood circulation? Until then, keep moving, apply that safe load, and I will see you in our next analysis.